Welcome to Bit2Net Code channel. Guys, in today's video we will see how we can configure OSPF clear text authentication between two routers, right? In my last video we had seen that how we can enable or configure MD5 authentication. So in today's video we'll see how we can use clear text. Normally three kinds of authentication are possible. Null, that is 0, 1 is clear text, and 5 is MD5. Okay, so now let me see uh, if we have OSPF process running. I am using the same routers that we had used earlier. So we have OSPF process running on R1. Okay, and let's check on R2 also. Just copy this command and right click right click. Okay, so here we have OSPF2. Here router ID not configured. Here router ID is configured. It's okay. And area 0 on router 2, area 0 in 12 network, area 1 is 23 network, right? You can see from here. And on router 3 only area 1. Okay, so right now there is no authentication configured. So to configure the authentication, we will go into F0/0 because we want to enable authentication between two interfaces. So we have to go in interface configuration mode, and here we will configure IP OSPF. Okay, we have a lot of option, so we will use this option, authentication, to enable authentication. Then we will use what kind of authentication we want to use. Authentication, enter. Okay, now we will see what kind of authentication we use. Here it says message digest authentication, that we have already configured, or no authentication. Okay, so let's go back and type dash here, and see here we have option authentication key, right? We can use what kind of authentication we want to use from here. We can use encryption type, because we enabled authentication here, so it is giving us messages that timer expired, because now R2 on R2 we have not enabled the authentication. So authentication is enabled on R1, but we have to give the configure the password. So let's see what options we can use here. So we can use here IP authentication key. We can simply give the OSPF password, right? Or we can also mention encryption type if we want encryption or not. But we are using clear text authentication, so we will simply give password. Let's keep the password to be Cisco. Okay, and debug IP OSPF events. Okay, now let's debug IP OSPF events, and now we will see all the hello packets that are being sent and whether they are being accepted or not by R2. Here it says mismatch. Let me make it a little bigger. Mismatch authentication type, input packet specified type 0, we use type 1, right? Type 1 is clear text, and type 2 is MD5. Okay, so now let's go to R2 also, config T. Here also we are getting same messages. Interface F0/0, IP OSPF AU authentication. Uh, this message is to enable authentication. Now we will use dash authentication key. What key we want to use? So on R1 we use Cisco, right? This was the key we used on R1. So here also we will give the same key, and debug OSP EVENTS. Now let's see. Now we are receiving hello packets, and do undebug all. Okay, now we will see, let's study these messages. We will start from where uh, authentication was getting denied, right? Here it was, there was a mismatch. Here there was mismatch. Okay, and we were getting mismatch till the time we had not configured. Okay, now here it says mismatch authentication key clear text. Okay, and when we configured here on R2, as soon as we configured the authentication clear text authentication Cisco, it started doing communication with R1, and hello processing, hello messages started exchanging. Okay, so let's read somewhere if we have a messages related to authentication. So these are the LS updates. So here those messages are not captured, but here debugging was already on. So that's why here we got the message that as soon the clear text authentication was enabled on R1, and as soon as it was enabled on R2, the exchange of hello messages start, and the neighborship was established, right? So guys, this was the short video on how we can enable clear text authentication in OSPF. Thank you for watching this video.